Welcome back. You're watching Live from Paris on France 24. James Creedon is here with our daily dose of Media Watch.
Yes.
Good stuff, James. Great to see you. Now let's start with Le Monde. They're saying it's war on the front page. I'm not talking about the Middle East. I'm talking about the battle for the leadership of the opposition party.
It's a war of political egos and political wills in the UMP party. That's François Fillon, former Prime Minister, one of two contenders for the UMP party leadership. Copé, Jean-François Copé, is officially the leader, but each candidate
Nobody seems to believe it.
That's right. He's like, I am the leader, god damn it.
I won.
Now, take a look at this headline. Après 20 heures, il se débrouille sans moi. That's the former Foreign Minister Alain Juppé, one of the founders of the UMP party, which is now on the brink of collapse or being split apart. He is. I think that was a well-chosen photo there. Now, they have actually accepted his offer of mediation. He gave them an 8 p.m. deadline tonight. He said, if you don't accept my offer of mediation by 8 p.m, you can manage on your own.
So it's mediation rather than him taking over the party.
That's right.
He's going to be like a marriage counsellor.
That's it. He's going to say, now Copé, come on. Francois' a nice guy. You've got to get on. You've got to not split up the party, please. So he's going to take 2 weeks to try to figure out what actually happened, because it was such a close vote and there was accusations of voting fraud on either side. Lots of analysis about this story in the papers today, Laura. Last night, for example, each appeared on the rival 8 p.m. news channels, one on TF1, that's François Fillon on TF1, and here's Copé on France 2. Can you believe that? These are the two big news shows in the evening, one on each show, rivaling each other. I mean, how more symbolic of a party falling apart, really, can you get?
I know, you forget they're from the same party.
That's it. And really, they're very virulent in their defence of themselves and criticisms of the other. Now, what's interesting is this analysis here. They're saying, what is the difference between now and 4 years ago? This is Guy Birenbaum writing for Huffington Post, because the same thing happened in the Socialist Party 4 years ago, when there was a massive war, essentially, between Martine Aubry and Ségolène Royal over who had won. And they're saying actually the role of social media is critical here, because what you have is every little new detail that comes along, or counter statement or whatever, it's blown out of all proportion on social media, which becomes a sort of an echo chamber of all of the divisions. Whereas before, people could maybe sort of deal with these divisions behind closed doors, or try to minimise it, or spin it into something not as divisive as it really is.
Now the dirty laundries are really out in public.
Absolutely out in the open, which makes it much more difficult to sort of spin it. Right. Essentially. So that's perhaps a difference. Take a look at this. This is somebody selling their UMP membership card on Le Bon Coin, which is a bit like Craigslist in France, for €1. So already, and that's the big fear, of course, that the UMP membership could start to kind of slide, and that the far-right parties could win, or the centrist parties could win, that the main party of opposition could lose out, really, to this battle of egos.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, the party's former head, Nicolas Sarkozy, the former president, is down in Bordeaux talking to a judge.
That's right. This over
suspicions
of illegal party fundraising involving the L'Oréal heiress Liliane Bettencourt back in 2007. Sarkozy summons adds to the UMP woes, says the Financial Times. You can say that again.
Not a good day for the French right. All right, let's move to Saudi Arabia. Women are being tagged now, and not women who've broken the law either, just women generally. Basically, if can't be trusted.
Saudi women have guardians. I wasn't even aware of that, actually. If it's either your brother or your father or your husband, and essentially now, when you are leaving the country as a Saudi woman, they're already not allowed to drive, so they'd have to be driven out of the country, I suppose. They are monitored by an electronic system that tracks any cross-border movement. So essentially, a text message is sent by the immigration authorities to the husband. Often they're in the same car, and what one man realised and tweeted is he got a text message because his wife had left the country, but they were both in the same car leaving the country. That's, I think, taking the nanny state and sort of lack of women's rights quite to an extreme. Another story, get this, right? That's right. Saudi man marries student, teacher and principal from the same school. Now, Saudi men are entitled to marry 4 wives. He already had one, who was an educational supervisor for the school in question, actually. But then he went ahead and married the principal, a teacher and a student all in the same school. So he now has 4 wives, which means he's used up all his credits. So there'll be no more marriage for that particular man.
I'm speechless. Let's move on. Susan Boyle. Now, no one's tagging her, but everyone's still talking about her.
All right. Now, Twitter can be a little bit rude sometimes, right? And hashtags, as we know, are used to organise tweets or little micro blogs online. Now, she had a new album coming out, and it was her PR people had Susan album party, but that could also be read as
I think we can
as
see
bum
that.
party, and I won't even go into it. It could be read as something
work
very
that out
rude.
for yourself, people.
Now, the thing is,
dear.
what they were saying is either her social media people were very smart, because it's been massively talked about
Got
today.
on Media Watch, didn't
That's
it?
right. It's everyone's talking about Susan Boyle's music, and I think she's all right, but I wouldn't necessarily be talking about it unless it was this hashtag fail, right? And so they're either geniuses or amazing. So you have even like little fake invitations now to that amazing party for the launch. And The Guardian has gone back over other fails in the past, because actually at The Guardian, they have an address for their US website, and they're saying we have to be very careful to put capitals on the US bit, because otherwise it could be something very, very rude. And so you see, you have to be very careful. And in fact, in the past, there have been other fails, such as hashtag MacD stories. This was an attempt by McDonald's back in January to promote their brand, I suppose, online. But actually what people started doing was talking about finding fingernails in their burgers and things like that.
Allegedly.
It was bad McDonald's stories that people were sharing. So I'm sorry if anyone's eating a burger as we speak.
Sorry if you're having a dinner then.
Yes, and I hope there's no fingernail in it.
Absolutely. On that note, James Creedon, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Laura.
You don't get that anywhere else except France 24. All right, let's move to more bits and pieces on the internet now. It's time for Web News.